went to Foxwoods for the $600 500K guarantee, and unfortunately, it did not work out for us. I'm still not really used to the filming myself in a casino thing quite yet. I do want to do that for you guys, but it felt a little weird to do to do it in the setup that Foxwoods has. But yeah, we have some hands to go over. This tournament, just to give you a short summary, I fired 4 bullets and we finished 6 away from the money on the 4th bullet. So hurt a little bit. $600 tournament became a $2,400 tournament for me. So yeah, without further ado, I guess let's go through the first bullet. So I'm at a pretty wild table for my first bullet. I don't really have any notable hands. Typically when I'm at tables where, I'm opening or I'm seeing people open and, flops are going 4 or 5 ways to the flop, I mean, typically the person that survives that table is going to have a monster stack, and I want to be that person. So, I end up taking some higher variance lines and busting that bullet pretty soon. As luck would have it, we get the same table draw on our second bullet, and that's where we start seeing some interesting hands. So this is bullet number 2 already, same table. So without further ado, let's get into it. So for the first interesting hand, the blinds are 300, 500 with a 500 big blind ante, and no, I'm not mixing up numbers here. They do this to get rid of the 25 chips early, so they don't have to color up. I actually think it's fantastic. It speeds up the game, makes sure that breaks don't go over, and we get down to playing. So anyways, I'm in the cutoff. I have King 9 offsuit, and I make it 1200 to go. The button calls and the big blind calls, and these 2 players in particular are pretty action players. So we go to a flop. It's Ace Jack 4 rainbow. The big blind checks. I bet 2,000. The button snap calls, and the button kind of has this, well, I guess in general, when someone snap calls you, it's usually a big indicator of weakness, I found. So anyways, the button snap calls me, and the big blind folds. The turn is a 6. It completes the rainbow, so board isn't too draw heavy right now. I started the hand with 25,000, and normally in this position I would normally just give up. I'd probably just check and fold to any bet. Because if our opponent has an ace, which is kind of likely here, giving standard ranges, then there's no use in betting because a 6 isn't gonna scare them away, right? So anyways, because of the live tell I got from the start, I decide on a bet of 6,500, and with the money I've put in, this is I put in quite a bit of my stack. We're praying it gets through, so it's a pretty hefty bet. The button is deep in the tank. He knows probably the next bet is all in on the river, and if he's not got a strong hand, then he's gonna have an even tougher decision on the river. So he's gonna kind of nut up or shut up here, right? So he eventually tank folds and get that through. Later he tells us he folded good jack, whatever that means. So like queen jack, king jack. Okay, whatever, dude. Fold your second pair and give me the pot. So this next hand is the very next level. It happens at 300, 600 with a 600 big blind ante. We have a middle position open to 2,200, which is quite big. And we have a late position caller. we're in the big blind and we have pocket jacks. We started the hand with 25,000, so it's less than 50 bigs. So we're happy to get it in here. A 3-bet is definitely in order, so that's what we do. We 3-bet to 8,400. The middle position player thinks for a standard amount of time, doesn't snap ship it in, but he does ship it in after about 10-15 seconds. The late position player folds and we call, and now we're off to the races. So the flop is 3-7-2 all hearts. We have the jack of hearts, so that's a good thing we got going for us. And the ace king, no hearts there, so we're not sweating a flush draw there. The turn is an offsuit 10. The river is an ace, but it's the ace of hearts. So we get a full double because he had us covered. So yeah, that felt pretty good. It's always good to win races in tournaments. So this next hand's a little weird. We're at 500, 1,000 with 1,000 big blind ante. We have an under the gun player just ships it in 14,000, and under the gun +1 cold calls the 14,000, which was very strange, a little strange. Definitely raises some red flags, and our hand doesn't make our decision any easier. Folds to us in middle position, and we wake up with pocket tens. We do have the under the gun +1 player covered by about 15,000. We have about 55,000 at this point due to the last hand doubling up and winning a couple other hands after that. And this new player that sat down under the gun +1, he's brand new, not really much history with him. And yeah, he's sitting on about 40,000. So interesting spot with tens. Yeah, usually under the gun and under the gun +1, you don't really want to mess with people that open there. And you especially don't want to mess with, an open and a call, but our hand strength is pretty good with pocket tens. And this is still very early in the tournament. I prefer to take my flips early on so I can acquire a big stack. So just thinking it through, it looks like that this hand is probably a flip, at least against the stack that matters, the under the gun +1 player that is just cold calling. So after thinking it through, I'm like, okay, let's gamble here, let's flip. I ship in my entire stack. It folds very quickly around back to the under the gun +1 player, who double checks his cards and says, oh yeah, I call. And sure enough, he has aces. Unfortunately, no cooler scenario here for me. No positive cooler scenario here for me. And yeah, we lose a big one and we're down to about 15,000. So, I guess maybe, I don't, yeah, I'm not sure what to do there. Maybe say in the comments, is that a fold? Am I getting owned there every time, or I don't know. I think if this were later in the tournament, closer to the bubble, I could fold this, but we were well away from the bubble, like probably another 7-8 hours from the bubble in a $600 tournament. So I wanted to gamble. Unfortunately, the gamble did not pay off. So final hand of the second bullet. We're pretty crippled at this point. We have about 12,000, 13,000 in our stack. Blinds are 600, 1,200 with a 1,200 big blind ante. We ship in king, queen of diamonds under the gun. I think it's perfectly reasonable. Under the gun +1 calls, folds around, and unfortunately we do not win this one. The under the gun +1 player has pocket sevens, and he gets a very clean run out, so no luck there. Bullet 3 happened. I don't have really many interesting hands there. I believe that bullet, I also just went. I was pretty card dead that bullet and ended up getting in a flip and losing my stack. The fourth and final bullet is where I start seeing some interesting stuff, and obviously that's the bullet I run deep on. So, yeah, let's go through some hands there. So the first interesting hand, it happens pretty late into this bullet, and the reason I don't have hands from earlier in the tournament or from earlier in this particular bullet, is because I don't know. Putting in aces versus sevens, and I get a clean run out doesn't seem too interesting. I want to get, I want to give you guys the interesting hands. So, anyways, this is a little further on in the tournament, and we have about 115,000 in our stack now. And we're about 20 players from the money bubble. So still a little ways to go, but pretty deep in the tournament. So anyways, the blinds are 1,500, 3,000 with a 3,000 big blind ante. We have a middle position open to 12,000, which is huge. Very big. 4x at this point is a big open. I have a bit of history with this player. I've played a lot of cash with him. So, I do think that he's a capable player for sure. Anyways, it folds around to me in the small blind, and I have ace jack of hearts. So this is a hand I definitely do not like to take out of position to a flop. I definitely have that in my 3-betting range. And with the blinds where they are and the stacks where they are, I do think I make a little bit of a blunder here, and I end up raising to 30,000, which is about half the other guy's stack. Big blind folds, and it goes back to him, and he just ships it in. We have to call his last 38,000, and it turns out he has ace queen offsuit. So anyways, the flop is 8-10-4 with 1 heart, so we have like a little window of hope there, right? And the turn gives us even more hope. we turn the 5 of hearts, so now we have a flush draw. So any jack will get us there, any heart will get us there. So not too bad. Unfortunately, the river is an offsuit 6, so we are crippled, and we need to make some recovery here. But not unmanageable. Yeah. So this next hand, the blinds are 2,000, 4,000 with a 4,000 big blind ante. We're definitely looking for some help here. We have about 40,000 left, and we're on the button. So anyways, the under the gun player just decides to rip in 70,000, just all in, boom. Which if you want to start adding things to your push fold at less than 20 big blinds, I think is fine. Seems to be the new meta, right? So it folds around to me, and I have pocket jacks. I call, hoping for, raise situation. Maybe he has a lower pair. That would be awesome. And it folds under the gun player, flips over, queen jack suited, and we get a clean run out. So we get a full double up on the bubble, which is great. So after that, we build our stack back to where we were, about like 115, 120,000. The blinds it's a little later in the level now. The blinds are still 2,000, 4,000 with a 4,000 big blind ante. And the same player from that hand opens under the gun again to 8,000. And we are in the small blind this time because a player got knocked out. That's just how it worked. And we have 7-8 of diamonds. Perfectly playable hand. I don't really feel the need to 3-bet here at all. And I think we can just call. So that's what I do, and the big blind folds, and we go to a flop. The flop is interesting. It's Jack 6-4 with 2 diamonds. So we flop ourselves a flush draw. We have running outs. And yeah, it's a really good flop for our hand. So we check it over to him, and he bets out 6,000. And here's where I think I make a big mistake. I believe I should be getting it in, or I should be at least 3 betting here, getting it in. Um, yeah, because this flop doesn't really hit an under the gun opening range unless he's got a big pair or something. Um, and we get a lot of ace highs to fold if we 3-bet here, but we don't do that. We want, you can't go for the easy answer all the time. We want to hit our flush and get it in good or whatever. But yeah. So anyways, we just call, and again, mistake. Don't do this. We just call, and the turn is a brick, and we get punished for a bad decision. We check it over to him. He bets out now 11,000, and given the fact that our hand is pretty face up, if we call and hit on the river, we have really no implied odds, so we just fold. And yeah, I will be the first to admit when I make mistakes. I like to own them, so here's one for the vlog. This final hand is a little bit of a heartbreaker. We're 6 away from the money exactly. It's 31 players left with 25 getting paid. So, we're on the money bubble now. We had a big stack competent player sit down at the table recently. He had like a little over 300K. Our stack is at about like that 10 to 15 big blind range, around there. And he had been playing, pretty aggressively. He's a good player. I had seen him before. So anyways, he opens up middle position. We're on the button. We look down at pocket jacks, and we rip in our entire stack. He snap calls, which with pocket jacks you don't love. But we do like that he flips over ace king offsuit. So anyways, he flops completely dead. No draws, no running outs besides the ace or the king. Turn doesn't help him at all, and the river, we get Barry Greenstein. We get the ace on the river. And that's our tournament. We fire 4 bullets, and we in turn get no money. I feel like the 4 bullet thing and the 4 buy-in thing is becoming a theme here, losing on the vlog, ever since I started back up. I promise you I've won money in some of my sessions, not the ones on the vlog so far. But stay tuned, because I think my next vlog is going to be pretty special. At least I'm hoping. It's either going to be a very good one, or very good for me, and in turn for you if you're rooting for me, or it's going to be a bad one. So thanks for watching this one, guys. I will try to get more footage of me like out and about and not in front of my computer. I promise, for the next vlog. And yeah, stay tuned, guys. Thanks for all the subs and all the positive comments so far. They've been really great. They've been motivating me to, record and edit and do the things I need to do to get my vlog jump started. So thank you, guys.
Perfect.